Hello, everybody,
Hey,
and
guys.
welcome back to another episode of Take 47.
You know what?
Where today, on episode 3, we are going to be talking about a question that not just Cole and I share, but a lot of the entertainment industry also shares as well. Some of the more old-fashioned people in the entertainment industry are massive blockbuster corporations killing the independent director.
I think that's a very fair question to ask at this time, especially in 2020 with Disney full force buying anything they can get their hands on.
Oh yeah, they're a massive, multi-billion-dollar empire. They take everything that they see as even the slightest bit profitable, and they will run a mile with it. They will make franchises, they will, do toys, all that stuff. Meanwhile, you have people who, like, for example, smaller directors that have been around for a very, very long time. They absolutely
have their place in the industry.
Oh, yeah, 100%. There are directors that are considered some of the best of our time. And these directors who that no matter what, they're 9 times out of 10 going to have a really, really good movie. They're getting snuffed out by another Avengers, another Star Wars,
right,
or anything like that. Now, I gotta kind of speak for myself in this regard. That, and I mean, I actually can basically speak for both of us in this aspect.
Please.
That we both love superhero movies, and
absolutely, they're magical.
Yeah, exactly. It's by no means ragging on superhero movies, on sci-fi, franchises like Star Trek or Star Wars. But personally, I like Star Wars more. But we're not ragging on these at all whatsoever. We understand the effort that is put into making these movies. It's by no means an easy feat. It's entirely understandable, the stuff that they go through, and we're in no means trying to say that, oh, these independent directors are far better at making movies than these, franchise directors and all that stuff. That's not what we mean at all. We're just strictly looking at it from a kind of a bird's eye view of the entertainment industry.
Yeah, because I think it's important to try and track where we're going to end up with movies in, the next 5-10 years. And will we see more movies being made by directors who, really take their time, have a very limited budget at their disposal, or are we going to see more movies that are just like cookie cutter made, massively produced, almost assembly line created films?
Right. 100%. And I mean, it's, I guess, a simple, in a way, like a yes or no answer. I feel like there's this kind of middle ground that, these movies, I'm in no way agreeing with Martin Scorsese, and I know he's gone back on his word as well, where he says that, like, that Marvel movies aren't like real cinema.
I don't think he really went back on his word. I think that was just
that's also yeah, that's also a good point too. I personally don't think that at all. A movie is a movie. That is cinema.
Absolutely.
Like,
there's so much work that goes into those movies. You really can't discredit them.
Yeah, you can't look at a blockbuster and go, oh, that's not a real movie, because Jaws was the first summer blockbuster.
Absolutely.
That was 100% like one of the first, if not the first, summer blockbuster. And that's 100% real cinema. And it was made by a very, very talented director that nobody doesn't know. Steven Spielberg, everyone knows Spielberg. He became a household name with having so many different franchises that are still being made today. Well, not Jaws, but Jurassic Park is getting another movie as well.
Yeah. And And he just recently came out with, was it Newsroom with Tom Hanks? It was something to do with the news.
Oh, you're talking about with Meryl Streep?
Yes.
You're talking about the Washington Post?
The Washington Post. The Post.
Yes.
The Post.
Yes. That was, I want to say, a year or two ago?
I believe it was 2
think
years
was
ago.
the last thing he did, yeah. Now, personally, for in my opinion, I do think that these big franchises, in a way, are killing the independent director.
How's that?
It's by no fault of their own, but you look at it from a movie theater's point of view,
Okay.
business-wise. So, say 2 movies are coming out, and this independent director really wants like this big premiere for his movie.
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah, so you have this guy. He's been working really hard. He has a great cast. His track record for making movies, really, really successful, great movies, is really, really high up there. His reputation's well known. Everyone knows who he is. And he wants a premiere at a movie theater. Now, this movie theater is like, yeah, of course, absolutely. Then suddenly, you have a company like Disney. Well, the newest Star Wars movie is also coming out at the exact same time.
And you know that Disney will pay anything.
Exactly. And movie theaters know this as well. Movie theaters want as much money as possible to keep themselves afloat because, unfortunately, let's face it, the movie theaters are dying.
Also thanks to Disney and other streaming services.
Yes, exactly. The company is going to side with the massive blockbuster that they know is going to bring in billions of dollars. You can't blame them. It's 100% a smart and safe financial option.
It's a simple equation of dollars and cents.
Exactly.
It would be stupid of them to not take the money and run.
Exactly. And, even if the movie's bad, just the name alone is going to bring an audience in. Like
Not Thor Ragnarok, I'm sorry. Like Thor the Dark World. I'm sure when that came out,
Yeah.
it was still a huge box office success, even if the movie was not
Exactly,
great.
yeah.
Because people came for the name, because Disney paid, because of all of these things, they will always end up on top.
Exactly. They just throw however much money, that the movie theaters want, and then that's it. Done. Like, name your price.
Well, I think I will name my price, because I have some prices here, some movie budgets, and I think that they are very enlightening.
Oh, let's hear it.
Actually, because you brought up the newest Star Wars movie. So, if you could guess, what do you think that the Star Wars Rise of Skywalker budget was in dollars?
Oh, Jesus. Is it close to $1 billion? Or is it, lower?
It is lower than $1 billion.
Is it, significantly lower, or is it...
Pretty significantly lower.
I'm going to say, half $1 billion?
$275 million.
Oh, okay. Quarter of that.
Yeah. Still a lot of money. Avengers Endgame was $365 million. Both of these movies were made by Disney. And there, don't get me wrong, is nothing wrong with a giant budget movie. Obviously, that's how they do all this CGI.
Yeah.
But, let me ask you, how much do you think Joker's budget was?
Oh, I know Joker's budget was incredibly low. Oh, God. I literally knew this number, too, because I was, obsessed with that movie when it came out.
$55 million.
Yeah.
$55 million. That is so much less.
Mm-hmm.
So much less to the point that Disney could make about 10 Jokers and still have money left over.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't think that you need to be spending that much money when clearly directors have done it for less and will do it for less.
Yeah. I mean, there's also the fact that, Star Wars is a lot more... It's not in this world, so Granted, a lot of those costs are probably just ridiculous CGI expenses.
That's very true. I would say my rebuttal to that would be that 1917 only spent $100 million US dollars, which, albeit, is much closer to that price, but still, they had another 100 million, 170 million left over if we're talking 1917 to Disney Star Wars.
Yeah, no, that is 100% true.
And I just keep seeing these very significant price raises. So much so that, you know, I'm worried that the standard for movie making has been raised so much in the budget.
Yeah.
So much so that other people can't keep up.
No, not at all. Joker was lucky because it belongs to a incredibly popular, is an extension of Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And it also helped that the movie was getting ridiculous amount of unfair press before the movie even came out.
Right.
Which, of course, it attracts more attention. And it hit the $1 billion threshold in terms of box office success.
Definitely did.
And it did break the record for highest grossing rated R movie. Which, I mean, good. I loved Joker.
I did as well. I don't think that Joker deserves all the hate that it got after the movie
No.
premiered and won its Oscar. I think it absolutely deserved that Oscar.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly think that Joaquin Phoenix did deserve that Oscar. No doubt in my mind. I do also say, however, even though that Joker was easily super close to being my favorite movie of the year, if Jojo Rabbit and the Lighthouse didn't come out, it would have been. But those three are... And I'll throw in Parasite, too, because Parasite was really, really good. But I also don't think it deserves as much praise as it got either. Like, I feel like it kind of... To
You're
be
talking
honest...
about Joker still?
Yeah. Just, like, comparing it to, like, for example, like Stranger Things. Like, I feel like Stranger Things is really, really good.
Uh-huh.
But I think the love for the show and the praise that it has is also, like, kind of out of control. I think it's way too overhyped.
I agree. I completely agree. Especially when you stop to think that, you know, half the cast of the show is still kids.
Yeah. But, you know, bouncing back to, independent directors and all that stuff, the scenario that I said in the beginning wasn't a made-up one. It was real. Quentin Tarantino, as you and I both know.
Are you bringing up his Hateful Eight?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Back when he was releasing the Hateful Eight, he wanted to premiere it at the Dome Theater in California, and
Beautiful place.
while he was supposed to have it...
Because Tarantino's going to get the first spot.
Exactly, it's Tarantino. I mean, his movies not only are critically a success, but they usually draw in a very good amount of box office sales.
Yeah.
I mean, it's never going to hit blockbuster status, but it's a very good number, especially for someone as independent as Quentin Tarantino.
His audiences will keep coming back.
Oh, yeah, and rightfully so. He's a fantastic director. Disney showed up and was like, no. We want our Star Wars movie. This was The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted The Force Awakens to be at the helm of this theater.
Theater 1, Theater 2, Theater 3. They will push every movie to the back.
100%. And even to speak in more modern terms, Rise of Skywalker back in December when it came out, we had like 4 or 5 showings of it at the Cinemark in Enfield.
Yeah.
I remember being like shocked the amount of showtimes that we ended up having. I'm like, how many do we have? Some of them there were so many showtimes that they weren't even being filled. Like,
really?
Yeah,
the movie would just play.
Yeah,
for
like
goodness.
a select few people. that actually decided to go to that showtime. That we had a showtime in Theater 1, Theater 12, Theater 3, we had one in Theater 4, we had one in Theater 6, there was one at one point in Theater 8, and in Theater 9. Like, we had so many showings. Some of them were 3D, which is understandable.
It's
obviously
unbelievable, though.
Yeah, but most of them were just like standard, viewings, and
you're
so,
talking even after opening weekend.
Exactly. Like, that was a thing for a really long time. I mean, of course, we dialed it back on the showings of in specific theaters and all that stuff. But in the end, it bring me back to Tarantino's story, where while this was going on, the theater was like, we would, but we do have this deal with Tarantino, and Disney was like, cool, change it. And they were like, I'm sorry, what? And they're like, if you don't change the movie deal and don't have Star Wars premiere at your theater, you aren't getting Star Wars.
They did like the opposite of what AMC is doing now to
exactly
DreamWorks.
To Universal. And,
Universal, yeah.
I want to say DreamWorks is tied to Universal now. I don't know where DreamWorks is tied to. But no, yeah, like, now, like we were saying, you have to look at it from a marketing, from a business point, financial point of view. The movie theater cannot, even a theater as popular as the Dome Theater in California, they would be insane to turn away a Star Wars movie. They would be insane to turn down Disney.
Because Disney holds that power to, like, blacklist that theater.
And I hate that they have that much power, though.
Oh, but they do. And
it's unfortunate.
It is cemented in like the Disney cornerstone. Like, you go to Disneyland and you walk on the souls of all of these dead corporations on every brick that they've laid. Because Disney will take what it wants, and it doesn't matter who's in its way.
Nope. On your left, you'll see 20th Century Fox. On your right, you'll see Marvel.
Where's ESPN?
That's true too. And it really is unfortunate that they have that much power, and it sucks for the independent director. Now, this is even, this is a tough thing for big name independent directors. What happens to the big name directors, or not? New independent directors that just show up on the scene. For example, Robert Eggers, who did The Witch and The Lighthouse.
Yeah.
We didn't show The Lighthouse at all in our theater. Not once.
Truly.
And it was only in a select few theaters across the country. And that's really unfortunate because, in my honest opinion, not only was, side note, The Lighthouse completely snubbed at the Oscars, but it's unfortunate because it was easily one of the best movies of the year and is personally my favorite movie of 2019.
I completely agree with you.
So now the unfortunate thing is, it doesn't matter how good a movie is. It's not quality that the theater is looking for. It's what can draw the most crowds and all that cash. And that's unfortunate that we live in a time that this is a reality. Because now you don't have any more people, you don't have like a young up-and-coming Tarantino or Scorsese. No one's going to know their name because these theaters won't take the risk of financially, supporting a small movie that not many people are going to see, which is really, really unfortunate. If I remember correctly, I mean, you have movies that are a lot smaller that unfortunately just no one sees, and it's really unfortunate. I guess to kind of compare that, for an example, I mean, I know this is it's not a small movie by any means, but not a lot of people went to go see it, but Dr. Sleep.
With Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, Dr. Sleep was a box office flop, which is unfortunate because it was a very good movie.
Yeah, not only was it a very good movie, but you think, It Chapter 1 and 2 were amazingly huge. you'd want to go see the next Stephen King adaptation that comes out.
Yeah, 100%. It's got a great cast. I mean, Ewan McGregor is a very popular actor right now.
Yeah, and this was like his return to the silver screen after quite a hiatus too, if I'm not
Yes, and then like shortly after that
mistaken.
was Birds of Prey, but we
all know what happened to Birds of Prey.
yeah, comparing to quality, there's really no contest to which movie is better.
Yeah.
But it really is unfortunate, and it could be also a little disheartening to the next independent director. They might they might not try to even get their movie in a theater.
Right, because it feels like such a failure to begin with.
Which is unfortunate because cinematic experiences, especially for a movie that like incredibly effective and immersive, I would have loved to see The Lighthouse in theaters.
I think that it would have elevated the experience of watching the movie tenfold.
Absolutely. The surround sound that a theater has, the massive screen that they have.
Mm-hmm. And sound is, I think, one of the most important parts to The Lighthouse as a movie.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Without a doubt. And it's absolutely... It's absolutely unfortunate that just these theaters just aren't giving these smaller directors a chance because it's not, financially speaking, a smart move.
Yes. And that's why I think that it's really important that studios like A24 exist.
Yes.
Because, you brought up the Lighthouse and you brought up Robert Eggers with Midsommar and Hereditary. And was he also The Witch? I forget.
I know Robert Eggers was the witch in The Lighthouse. I forget who directed Hereditary and Midsommar.
Oh, it's a different person.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's... Oh, I can't remember for the life of me.
Well, you think of that. I'll continue with my point.
Mm-hmm.
Just that A24 creates like a safe haven for these indie directors, right? They have like a cage, and they say that Disney cannot cross this line, Fox cannot cross this line. These people cannot come in, cannot work with A24. A24 will set up the popularity contest. Like, please just keep making movies.
Yeah.
We will take care of making sure that your movies get heard.
And what's awesome about that as well is that these aren't just no-name actors, rather, that are in these movies. You have some serious A-list talent that absolutely eat up these smaller movies because they're a lot more... They look at filmmaking as an art form rather than a cash cow.
Yes.
And that's amazing. And a lot of actors love that. And they end up
it is very
shifting
attractive to
towards
actors.
that. And yeah, absolutely. You have people like Robert Pattinson, like Willem Dafoe, Toni Collette. These actors, they just love smaller, more intimate filming experiences, and I don't blame them.
Not at all. It's really a magical experience to get to work with such a homey, close cast and crew.
Absolutely.
And to feel cared for and supported by those same people.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you have heard the horror stories, I'm sure, of the Star Wars cast.
Oh, my Lord.
Daisy Ridley actually deleted her social media, which is unheard of in 2020, of an actress, one of the most popular, or supposed to be popular actresses, because, she was the front woman of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, they were really pushing her. She deleted her social media because she just didn't want to hear it anymore.
Yep, and same with Kelly Marie Tran, who played Rose in The Last Jedi as well.
People ate them alive.
And it's really unfortunate. Because they're not... I hate... And I mean, this might be a little bit of a touchy subject. But I hate when big corporations like Disney will look at certain smaller groups, like the LGBT crowd and all that stuff. Okay. And they trying to word this in like the best way possible.
Sure.
It's like they look at it as like a checklist rather than a natural like flowing reason for them to be in the movie, for example. Like for example, they make a movie and they're like toting it around as, oh, it's the first gay superhero, and like, or something like that. And it's not
you're saying that
it's not natural.
Yeah, you're tired of big studios making caricatures of minority
Yes,
groups.
exactly. Thank you. I could not come up with that at all. But I 100%, I hate that, because you can absolutely have a fantastic gay character, any minority group at all. You can have a fantastic character, but these corporations don't care about that. They don't care about whether or not it's a good character or not. They just know that if they go, oh, hey, it's the first black superhero, for example, that everyone's just going to go see it.
Yeah,
and that's unfortunate.
I think that's really the difference, too, between a movie like Captain Marvel, which I think follows what you're talking about
100%.
here, and then Black Panther of the same genre, which was done in what I think is the right way.
Yes, I completely agree, and that is 100% the right way to do it. And honestly, I'd even say Birds of Prey. As much as that movie, I'm not that big of a fan of the movie.
Yep.
But my gripes with the movie were not the characters or the female empowerment at all. It was done very well. I don't know if you've seen Birds of Prey.
I missed my viewing of it. I did not see it.
Well, it's okay to be completely honest. You weren't missing that much, but the female empowerment of that movie was actually one of the best I've seen in a very long time.
Really?
I didn't look at these characters and go, oh my god, they're walking stereotypes. Like, they're not interesting at all.
Well, that's good, because that takes me out of the movie.
Exactly.
Nothing faster. I mean,
thought it was so good. I thought that the dynamic, the fact that they were female it wasn't a character trait. It wasn't, oh, well, I'm a woman, and that's it. Like, that's it. That's their dynamic. No, it was really, really well done.
multi-dimensional characters.
Absolutely. I mean, some of the characters in that movie were extremely likable, and I just wish they were in a better movie, honestly. It was like, that's the stuff I like. But these smaller directors seem to get that a lot more than the big corporations, because like we said, the big corporations don't see, they don't look at it from a point of view where they're like, you know what, it is time for the first gay superhero, but we're gonna do it right. Like, we're gonna take the time. They see it as, you know what, my pockets are getting kind of light.
So time to crank out.
Yeah, let's throw out some like garbage stereotype, and then look at us, we're progressive.
Yeah.
That's the unfortunate part. And I really wish that theaters gave these directors a chance, because it's not like small directors are at all bad at the craft. I mean, Taika Waititi, he's arguably, obviously, a lot bigger now. But I mean, Jojo Rabbit was only
small.
Yeah, Jojo Rabbit was only in select theaters. We didn't get it for a decent amount of time.
Yeah, it was well after the movie had come out and
Yeah.
and even received a lot of critical acclaim before our theater decided to show it. And when I did see it in our theater, it was stuffed all the way in the back.
Yep.
Smallest screen.
It was the smallest screen, yep.
It was just so disappointing. I mean, look, nothing's gonna match the ambiance of going to the theater, buying some popcorn if that's what you're into, and sitting down with a group of friends just to watch a movie. Even if it's bad, you will walk out of there smiling because you're with your friends and you're having a great time.
Yeah.
You throw that movie in the back of the room.
It is unfortunate.
It just brings the mood right down.
And also another thing as well, just a perfect example of the movie theaters themselves, the companies like Cinemark and AMC and all that stuff, they're not wrong with their ideology. They're not wrong that smaller directors really don't bring in a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And that is unfortunate because even someone as talented and as well known as Taika Waititi,
Mm-hmm.
because of Thor Ragnarok, when, for example, all the times I went to go see Jojo Rabbit, like when I brought you and Lizzie,
Yeah.
that
Great
theater
time.
wasn't even close to filled. And there was only like 50 seats in that one theater, in that one small
I
theater.
truly believe it was like the 3 or 4 of us that went, and
Yep.
maybe about 5 other people.
Yeah, there was like one dude in our row that had like his phone out at one time, and then he like
Yeah,
got
that's
up
right.
and left and then came back or whatever.
That's right. There's
But
not much
then-
you can do about the public.
Exactly. And then the first time I saw Jojo Rabbit, it was just me, TJ, Tyler, and Dom. It was just the 4 of us. No
You-
one else went to go see it.
You have seen it multiple times, and multiple times in those, it has been nearly empty.
Yes.
Wow.
Not once has it gotten close to capacity at all. There were times where the people who were watching it, it was in the double digits. And by double digits, I mean like 10.
Mm-hmm.
But that was it. There were very few times when I would clean theaters where I would look at a thing, go and see Jojo Rabbit on my movie sheet and go, yeah, I probably don't even have to clean that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I won't even bother, like, even checking in before the movie ends just to see how many people there are. When it ends, I'll just walk in and be like, oh, well, no one was here. And just leave. And it's unfortunate. It really is, because some of the...
funny.
Yes, it is. It's really unfortunate that these fantastic movies aren't really being seen. Another example of that is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Oh, I saw that one. I saw
And-
that one. I think it's opening weekend.
Did you see it with... No, that's right. We saw Hollywood.
We did see Hollywood
Yes.
together.
But even that movie wasn't even full.
No.
And most of the time in Hollywood, I mean, granted, I wasn't working at the movie theater at the time, but then when we got it back as like an encore showing when the Oscars showed up, when all the Oscar buzz was going on, there were only like 3 people in a showing, and that was it. I mean, granted, it was a lot later in the year, and everyone's probably already seen it, but the point does still stand. Like, we had Star Wars and Frozen 2 and all these bigger movies for such a long time, and they always bring in people. Very, very small. There was a very small chance of having Rise of Skywalker, for example, be empty. Almost every weekend, even back when in February, before all this crazy stuff that 2020 has been delivering started happening.
Yeah.
It was busy as hell, and yet the movie came out 2 months ago.
And it received very poor reception.
Exactly. It's just because it's a Star Wars movie, and that's really unfortunate because people see the name and they will wholeheartedly go, ha, yes, I will see that, rather than, hey, Jordan Peele came out with a new one. People, while Jordan Peele is incredibly, popular, of course,
Not Star Wars.
it's not Star Wars. No small director like that is gonna be as big as Star Wars. Is gonna be as big as Jurassic Park. Is gonna be as big as any Marvel movie, and that is incredibly unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's even a reality. It really is. I mean, another example of this is Guy Ritchie's The Gentleman.
Oh, I'm
Which-
not familiar with that movie.
Is my favorite movie of the year so far.
Really?
It's
I gotta watch it then.
It's got an absolutely fantastic cast. Serious talent. You
Yeah.
got Matthew McConaughey, you have Charlie Hunnam, you have Colin Firth,
Oh
you
my
have Michelle
goodness.
Dockery, you have oh my god,
They're just going back to back to back.
yeah, like, oh, and there's another one. Hugh Grant. Yes, Hugh Grant.
Hugh
And,
Grant?
like, yes. And these guys, these are really well-known actors. And Guy Ritchie is a known director. And that movie didn't even last like a month in our theater. When Dr. Sleep was in, it was there for 2 weeks and left. I was shocked
Wow.
when that happened. And that's really unfortunate because, once again,
No wonder I didn't hear about it. It was here and
exactly.
then gone.
That's another thing. These massive franchises, they stagnate in a theater. They will sit there because the big corporations want every single dollar they can get from that movie.
Oh, they will milk the customer's wallet till it's dry.
Absolutely. We had Frozen for so long, and then it came back when it left.
Okay, Frozen 2 does not need a reprise in the theaters.
No.
I'm sorry, it just doesn't.
But the thing is,
Just put it on Disney Plus already.
did people go to see it? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. When it came back, yep. You bet your friggin' dollar it did. 100%. People just instantly like, oh, what was that, Frozen? Oh, I didn't see that. Except I did. There were a couple times like, parents are like, oh, we've seen it like 9 times now. Like, kids love it.
It's not cute. You're not cute. Don't go see Frozen 10 times.
Like, come on. There's so many better movies out there. Like, come on. I mean, maybe not take your kids to some of them, like The Lighthouse or anything like that. But, like, there really are just some seriously awesome movies that you just don't see because they're not in the theaters long enough or not even in theaters at all. And they end up flocking to these streaming sites, which unfortunately they get a bad rap because you see a picture of it and it's like, for example, a Netflix original. You're going to be like, oh boy.
Which are really hit or miss. Like,
Yeah.
when I see a movie that says Netflix original, I'm sorry, Netflix, but it doesn't make me go, well, then it must be amazing.
Yeah.
I
don't
go,
look forward to it.
all right, it's a Netflix movie,
Yep.
so I guess I know what I'm
Exactly.
getting into.
Yep. There are very few movies that are Netflix originals that
Can hold their weight as a movie. I say.
absolutely, like off the top of my head, I could pick 2, and that's it. I mean, to be fair, I personally don't really watch a lot of Netflix originals because,
Yeah. What are you thinking? Like Irishman? Was that one of them?
oh, that's right, Irishman.
Maybe
is
like
a
Marriage
Netflix
Story?
original. Well, that's an unfortunate thing too. Is a Scorsese movie has to be a Netflix original?
Like, that's a weird mixture, right? I'm not the only
Absolutely.
one that thinks that's a weird mixture
No.
of things. Martin Scorsese and Netflix are teaming up. And that makes sense. It doesn't make sense. But then when you think about it, it does,
Yeah.
because it's still the fight against Disney. It's just being masked behind Netflix.
Yeah.
If you could think of the 2 best streaming services, what would you say?
Netflix and Disney Plus.
All right, then. And if you get Disney Plus, then you also get Hulu.
Exactly.
Right, so sorry, Apple TV. Sorry, Peacock. Is that what they're calling, like, the CBS or NBC one?
Wait, there's a NBC one?
NBC just came out with Peacock. CBS All Access
Why?
exists.
But those are just network channels that they don't.
And they create these because, CBS has Star Trek. And so now they say, all right, well, guess
Right.
what? We're not going to air Star Trek. We're going to put it behind a paywall.
Yep.
And then there's places like NBC where they're like, I don't remember who owns The Office, but whoever owns The Office
I want to say it's NBC.
created
wrong.
a streaming service just to take The Office off of Netflix and put it onto theirs. So now you got to buy this one and this one and this one and this one.
Yep. And these streaming services are taking this opportunity. I like this a lot, and at the same time, I don't. First off, I like that these independent directors actually have a platform that they can share their art with.
Yeah,
the
at the
world.
very least, it's a platform.
Yes.
You're right.
The fact that it at least will have a platform is wonderful. I both like and dislike the fact that these streaming services are scooping up these older directors, these, more like classic directors, if you will, and are like, make a movie for us that's exclusive to this streaming site, which is unfortunate because then paywall, like you said.
Yeah.
And while I'm glad that they are still able to get their art out there, it's just still unfortunate because some of these movies deserve to be seen in theaters. The Gentleman should be seen in theaters. The Irishman, I feel like, should have definitely been seen in theaters. I mean,
if you ask Scorsese, I think he'd agree.
yeah,
His
exactly.
movies should be seen in
Tarantino movies
theaters.
should always be seen in theaters. Always.
Speaking of Tarantino, though, I wouldn't be surprised if he's next on the Netflix chopping block.
That would be so unfortunate if his last movie that he's coming out with, number 10, was a Netflix original.
But what if that's the most lucrative way for him to make money? What
And
if? I'm not saying that it is, but what if?
But yeah, the unfortunate reality is that it's
I mean, Netflix already has
chance.
Django Unchained on
Inglourious
there.
Bastards.
Inglourious Bastards
They
on there.
have had Pulp Fiction for as long as the site's been around.
So why not just maybe make a new one?
Yeah.
Put it only on Netflix.
And it is unfortunate because it's probably a better financial move than putting it in theaters.
Yeah,
Even
I mean,
for someone like Tarantino.
Netflix might be willing to pay closer to what Disney's paying the theaters than the theaters would be getting from him.
And the only director I can think of, aside from Tarantino, that can draw in a crowd is Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan has always been able to effectively draw in a crowd.
Absolutely.
If you don't even look at the Dark Knight trilogy, and you look at movies like Inception or Dunkirk, those movies made a killing in theaters. But once again, bouncing back to our point, is it Star Wars success? Nope.
No.
Is it Jurassic Park success? Nope.
No.
Is it Marvel success? No.
Uh-uh.
Not even close. And that's unfortunate because theaters see that and it ends up becoming like the Scarlet Letter, if you will.
Oh
It's
my
like-
gosh, yeah, they have just this
Yes, like
the letter N for Netflix written on their chest.
and even that, but I'm like more necessarily referring to like the success of their movie.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Oh.
Like just on their shirt, it's just the amount of money their previous movie made, and everyone sees that, and it's like oh god, we're gonna go flock to Disney now. Like we want to make way more than that, and that's the unfortunate reality of the entertainment industry nowadays. And while these big movies, like we said in the beginning, are still incredibly fun to see in theaters. I love seeing Star Wars movies in theaters, good or bad. When I went into Rise of Skywalker and came out, I had a blast of a time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, you look back on it and you're like, the movie actually really isn't that good at all.
But while you're in that theater,
Exactly.
while you're watching it, when your heart is matching to the beat of the
Absolutely.
bass,
You see the Star Wars opening crawl. You hear the theme. You watch Kylo Ren and Rey fight on the Death Star, and like the surround sound of their lightsabers clashing, and they're doing all these really cool Force abilities. The waves are crashing, which, side note, is still one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie.
the best one.
I'd agree it's the best one.
Uh-huh.
That's something that I will fight to the death and say that is actually a genuinely good fight scene.
Yes.
And it's really an absolute blast. I love seeing Jurassic Park in theaters. Unfortunately, I have not had the chance to see the original Jurassic Park in theaters. I know certain theaters will bring back old movies to relive the experiences.
tradition.
Yeah, they did that for Alien.
Yeah, they
And
did.
I made sure to like put time aside to see that because I needed to see that movie in theaters. And
It's an important experience.
absolutely, these theater experiences with these big franchises are 100% an absolute blast to see. They're really fun. They're super enjoyable, even if the movie's good or bad, except for The Last Jedi. That movie, I didn't have a fun time the whole time, but
Yeah.
but that's a little different. But
That's another can of worms.
I just wish that theaters were able to do the best of both worlds, where they go, yeah, because like for example, we have 12 theaters in the one in our movie theater,
Yep.
in our Cinemark. We have 12 theaters. Make 3 of them or 4 of them, whatever, be this massive blockbuster, and cater at least one to that small independent director.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, even that just doesn't work because of course other movies come out and then they'll run out of room.
Yeah, that's a very, very interesting idea, right? It takes out the idea that they have to spend that much money because there's always going to be a spot reserved for them.
Mm-hmm.
But that makes me think, obviously it wonders, would that work practically? And you got to think, if theaters put that into play,
Mm-hmm.
I do not think that corporations would just be like, oh, okay, and take it laying down. I think that they would fight tooth and nail to make sure that they get what they want.
Yeah.
Because anyone who is rich knows anything that you can't do is just how much money do I have to pay you until you'll let me do it.
Yeah. It's just your response to everything is just throwing a wallet at them.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, no, we're gonna Mr. Tarantino wanted us to wallet. Oh, okay, you know what? Yeah, you know what? We will premiere it. Yep, absolutely. Like, it really is just, it's an unfortunate reality that we live in. And I don't really think I think it's here to stay. I don't think it's ever gonna change unless something really, really big happens. And I don't know, the tide changes. And
here's what I think. I think that you're right, that it's going to stay this way. I think it's going to stay this way until everything that can be bought up is bought up. All the properties are on the table, and they're all divvied out to the biggest corporations. And then finally, the movie theater industry is going to collapse until we find a new way to watch media. I don't think that this is going to be done until, I don't know, like holograms come out or something, you know? Like, I don't think that this is going to change until people are ready to let go of streaming services the way they are.
Yep.
And I don't think it's going to change until people are ready to let go of the theater-going experience like they're holding on to right now.
That's a topic that could easily be its own video.
I think you're right.
Theater-going experiences. I think we should definitely talk about that at some point.
I completely agree.
So, closing statements. Do you have anything else to?
Closing statements. I think what it really is just take more chances. That would be my best advice. Take more chances to go to the movies and explore. Find a movie genre that you haven't seen, that you think you might be interested in, and just take an evening. If it's not good, then that's okay. If it's great, then maybe you just discovered a really fun thing. Just try things out, Don't always go to see the next Disney blockbuster.
I absolutely agree. My closing statement would basically be exactly the same. I mean, I've done that. I mean, granted, it's a lot easier for me because when I worked at the theater, I was free.
It is an expensive hobby.
It is, yes. And if, you work at the theater, you save a ridiculous amount of money. So I have had the chance to actually go and take the time to see these smaller movies and end up being genuinely shocked. I was shocked at how much I loved The Gentleman. Actually, no, I wasn't shocked about Jojo Rabbit. I thought that movie was going to be good anyway.
I was shocked at Jojo Rabbit.
You thought Jojo Rabbit wasn't going to be good?
I didn't think it was going to be bad. I was just worried. Like, I thought that it was either going to be amazing or that Taika Waititi would, cross a line that no one was ready to see him cross.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He stuck very hard and fast to his satire, and I really appreciated it.
Yeah. I definitely think that's all we can do is ask general audiences to just give these smaller movies a chance.
Yeah.
And that's really just the only way you can keep these theaters, pushing for independent movies to be in there.
Mm-hmm.
If you go and see a Tarantino movie, if you go and see a Martin Scorsese movie, a Robert Eggers movie, anything like that.
Wes Anderson,
exactly. And you just, if you give them a chance, the movie theaters will see, oh wow, there actually is an audience for these movies, and they will keep it. Even if it's not a massive blockbuster, there are times where massive blockbusters don't come out. I mean, January is usually a very dead month, for example.
It's like the summer where most blockbuster movies come out.
Exactly.
Because of Jaws, like we were talking about.
Yep, and then Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
And everything in between is fair game. Theaters will absolutely cater to, that's the time for smaller movies. And if you actually see them, if people actually see them, they will continue to do that. And that's all we can ask for at this point, is to just basically just try to keep these independent filmmakers going for the movie theater experience, because the theater experience is an absolutely fantastic thing. I mean, of course,
I don't think I'm ready to let it go.
I'm not at all. I love the theater experience, and really the only way it could possibly be ruined, even if the movie is bad, is the audience itself.
Yes.
But that really doesn't happen that much for me personally. I really haven't had an audience that has been so bad that I can't even enjoy the movie I paid to see.
Yeah, most of the times I feel like the audience comes through when it's really important. Like Quiet Place, we had said was...
Yeah, I was very, very nervous about that.
Stunning at how quiet the audience was as well.
Yeah, so that's all we can hope for. Just keep supporting the independent directors, because you know that the big corporations can handle losing a bit of cash.
Oh yeah,
and the independent directors can't. So that's just something to keep in mind the next time you go to the movie theater and you see a movie that you haven't heard of before.
Most importantly, though, please remember to keep supporting Take 47.
Yes, make sure to continue doing that. Thank you
love
guys.
having you as our audience.
Absolutely. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you guys liked what you saw here, we do have 2 other episodes.
Please watch, listen, enjoy.
Absolutely. And if you guys have anything that you would like to, have us talk about, or a point that maybe we didn't see, absolutely throw it in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Once again, thank you guys very much, and we will see you on the next episode of Take 47. Bye, guys.
Later.